Do you believe it is necessary for governments to create laws to deal with transgender issues?
I guess so, yeah, because it can get out of hand. And to me, working at the government level, it's starting to get out of hand. So, yeah.
So you agree with them creating those laws?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do.
I think that you can let the individual and the medical system speak for itself in a lot of instances as well, but the government has a role to play both federally and provincially in that part. So yeah, I guess yes.
I don't believe it's necessary, and I don't understand why Daniel Smith and some of the other premiers are putting legislation in place. My advice would be to focus on more critical health issues like the opioid crisis rather than putting requirements on transgender youth who obviously need the support of parents and people in the community, including the medical community. So let's listen to the experts and not the politicians.
Today now, I would say it is, because there's so much unknown and so many resources that are not around for these now youth that are coming up and being isolated, I think. So I think it would be important, especially coming from the States, because right now we, as women in general and trans, all of our rights are being stripped away. So I absolutely think it's important.
To keep your rights.
To keep rights, yeah.
And what about you?
Absolutely, I agree with my wife. It's one of those things where these kids are braver. This is one of the bravest generations that has ever come up. We've always been here. There's always been transgender people. There's always been queer people. It's just that back then, if there was even a whisper about it, you would be killed or arrested or anything. And now it's this thing where they're all standing up in rebellion and saying, no, we deserve to be here. We are here and we have a right to exist. And absolutely, in schools, it should be validated 100% the way through. 100%.
Tough question. So in regards to transgender, yes, I think there do need to be laws in place to help protect. But also I do not believe what's going on in the area of athletics and so forth with transgenders going through from A to B or B to A and participating. I think that gives an unfair advantage.
Absolutely. So I absolutely think that it's necessary for governments to, not only create laws, but also invest in helping for the transgender issue, because at the end of the day, it's a very big cultural shift. A lot of people weren't necessarily raised in an environment where they understand the trans issue, but it's very real. There's a stat that's going around. I'm probably wrong when I say that number. I think it's 1% of the U.S. that identifies in some way on that spectrum. And there's still a lot of oppression around that topic. A lot of people want to downplay the issues that come with it because, the trans community is also very susceptible to mental health issues from the bullying that goes around it. So I think making laws to protect these people that really just want to be themselves is the right thing to do, just the same way they would for any other minority.
Well, I think what's happening in our own province around that is extremely disturbing to me on a personal level. And I don't think that it's government's place to step in to make decisions about individual health. And I think that that's something that needs to be done in consultation with experts who work on a day-to-day basis with people who are experiencing issues around transgendered status. And so I think that being heavy-handed in creating laws is not the right way, not the right approach.
No. No, I believe those are medical decisions between a patient and their doctor, and I think that in terms of what is the right thing to do for those folks who are experiencing, the spectrum of gender, that is a personal decision that is guided by medical standards.
Absolutely not. It is none of the government's business to do that. That is parents and doctors and people. That is not our business, the government business. And it's certainly not taking comments and feedback from the American and their way of doing things.
Well, I think the Constitution and the Bill of Rights should cover that, and the courts will protect that.
This whole legalization or illegalization and all these rules, it's just horrible. It should be a medical and informed decision. And what we have here in Alberta is anything but informed. It's always uninformed. So I really don't feel the government has a role in it.
These are people who need care and treatment, and I don't really understand what the government is doing when it thinks that it has business in that area, other than to placate probably part of their voter base who sees all of these kind of medical conditions as not medical at all, but some kind of, social or moral breakdown or something, I don't know. So yeah, I don't think the government has any business in that at all.